Everybody, peace. Welcome to the Sorry to Bother You show, wherever or however you are listening. We are so grateful to have you here with us. As you guys know, I'm your host, Kashawn Cottle, and I'm joined here today, as usual, by my co-host, Mr. Dre Pennington.
What's good? What's good? How we feeling? We good? We good? We Gucci? We
I'm
good? We
good.
good?
I'm blessed, Dre. I woke up this morning and I'm thankful for that. So that's all I can ask for.
It's a blessing, man. That's all we want. That's all we asking for.
Always, brother. How are you feeling, by the way?
Bro, I'm good. A little under the weather, got a little head cold, but I'm getting over it. So like I'm happy about that.
Mm-hmm. We need to get you some green tea, some
Mm.
lemon, honey, and ginger, and that will clear you right up.
Ooh, I might need some of that. I think that'll be a good thing.
You don't need any pharmaceuticals, brother. All natural healing processes on this
All
end.
right. That's what we like to hear.
Absolutely. Dre, we have an interesting topic today
Mm.
on the show. Two interesting topics, by the way.
Two of them.
But this first one that we're going to be talking about can be quite polarizing, to say the least. So, for those of you who don't know, yesterday we put a poll up on our Instagrams asking for fan responses to the question of, do you feel like you can be in a healthy relationship with your partner while still remaining friends with your ex? Now, we're grateful for all the responses we got. They varied on the scale of in terms of like the responses. It was very
Yeah.
different and surprising to say the least. But Dre, I do want to give out the statistics from the responses. So 67% of the people said yes, you can remain friends with your ex, while 33% said no. What do you think about that?
Uh. Oof, oof. It like we always talk about. There's always a little gray area, I would say. But
Mhm.
for me personally, I think if you know who you are and if your relationship ended the relationship ended pretty well, I think you could do it. I think it's fine.
Okay. Okay. Like you said, Dre, a lot of gray area. As you get older and you start to mature, you start to realize life in itself is not black and white. The wisdom, the knowledge, it lies in the nuance, it lies in the gray area, it lies in the details. That's where you're really going to find the answers to anything in this life. So, Dre, with that being said, let's find the answer to the question we posed.
Mm,
Can you be friends with your ex while being in a healthy relationship? So
mm.
we're gonna read the responses and you're gonna chime in. How's that sound?
I'm with it. I like that.
All right, let's get right into it. Disclaimer: we had so many responses, guys. We're really appreciative of that. We can't read all of them due to time constraints, but we're gonna read some of the ones we thought were interesting and insightful. So gonna get right into it. Okay, Dre. This first response is no. Too many personal things have been shared, and once you cross that bridge, you cannot go back.
Mm, mm. So that's one of the ones where I think it depends on the person, and I would say that if you were in a relationship like that was long, and you know that like you can't, like you yourself know like, all right, I can't do this with that person. Too many open doors. Do not be friends with your ex. Do not do it. Go ahead and sever all ties. It's not worth it. I just don't think that it's something that you should open.
Okay. Okay. All right. We'll go to the next response. The
Go
next
for it.
one, definitely, but I would say that has a lot to do with each person's level of maturity.
You want to take this one or me? You got, how are you feeling?
I'll take this one. I think when it comes to anything in relationships, it comes down to the level of maturity. But just as an aside, you don't want to be with someone that has a lower level of maturity because it's hard to deal with them on any sort of basis. Um, but when you involve with your ex, it does take a level of maturity and a level of confidence and trust in your partner to know that nothing um will occur between the two of them, that boundaries have been set. But I agree, it takes a level of maturity. I agree with that. Um, okay, next response. It all depends on your foundation and what you'll discuss regarding, like we said, boundaries. You want to take that one?
Uh, I don't know. I feel like that kind of answers itself. Boundaries. Hey, you don't have boundaries. You don't set them. Boundaries will be crossed. It can be an uncomfortable situation, especially if you want to have a healthy relationship with your partner. But as far as like, the just that, I think crossing boundaries, you got to automatically just like cross that person out. It just has to happen.
Right, right. I agree. All right, the next response. It really depends on the dynamic of your relationship. Respect each other always. I'll take this one. That's an interesting concept, Dre, that I didn't think about originally. That what if you guys are, 3 years, for instance, into the relationship? Should your partners still be talking to their ex?
Ugh. I don't know. That 3 years in, that yeah, you can because like I said, people have like people can be friends. You can move past that, especially 3 years down the road. It can be like there's nothing there.
Okay. I I think that does play a factor into it. I think something else that also plays a factor into it is how long your partner and their ex were together. I think that also plays a factor in as well. But
Yeah,
we'll get into that later on.
a little bit later.
Okay. Next response. I think it depends on how things ended with your ex.
Ooh, okay. So that is very true because I've seen this is speaking from my experience. I don't say everyone. I've seen where relationships will end horribly and the people will try to be friends and it just never works out with them being friends. And I'll be like, dude, I'll be like, hey, it's probably just not the best idea. Or it's like someone will lead another person on, or it's just some type of miscommunication, which also, again, ends again very horribly because it wasn't supposed to be like that in the first place.
Okay. So my question is, Dre, what circumstances would, in terms of how things ended with your ex, would permit you still being able to talk to them while in your new relationship?
What's wrong? Where repeat that for me?
Like like give me an example of like in terms of how you guys ended. Like how would that be okay with you talking to your ex while still being in a new relationship?
So I would say like both agreement, like, yo, this probably just isn't working out for both of us. I think this is something we need to separate, like both a mutual agreement type of thing. Um, that's one where I think Eric can be like, all right, well, we can still be friends, we can still talk,
Okay.
like we can still be cordial. Um, the like distance away thing can happen, but I feel like that still can be shaky. That's still like that still can be like a thin line.
So
As long,
you're saying that if the relationship ended amicably,
yeah,
that would be okay for you to still speak with your ex while in a new relationship.
yeah, I think so.
Okay. Okay. So in layman's terms, the less toxic, the better.
Very true. Because the more toxic, man, that is not going to work.
Okay. I see what you're saying. That's interesting. I never thought about it like that. But Dre, we talked about this last week. When you leave a toxic situation or environment, uh, we shake that negative energy we have off of ourselves, and so now we're going to naturally gravitate towards something that's more beneficial towards us. So you're more inclined to be in a better situation because of that. And some people would say, well, why would you go back to something that was toxic, right? And so this next response says, you ended things for a reason. Why keep the door open if it's over? Clearly a reason behind it.
Oh man. You want this one or me? How are you feeling about it?
I'll take this one. I'll take this one, Trey.
All right.
But like you said previously in a previous response, it does depend how things ended. Um, I and it does take a level of maturity. Sometimes people in relationships for amicable reasons, and it's time to move on. But also, Dre, that I feel like there's a fine line between being friends, right, and still having boundaries, right? You can be cordial, you can be friends, quote unquote, with your ex. That doesn't mean you have to talk to them every day. You don't have to hang out with them one on one. You know, just because you still consider them a friend doesn't mean you have to be around them every day. And that doesn't always mean that there's exterior or ulterior motives behind you still being in quote unquote contact with your ex, you know. But that's just a thought to have. The next response, Dre, is it really depends on your ex and how things ended because it can mess with your current deal.
Yeah. Especially if like I said before, if it ended for one person and then say you broke up with your ex and in your mind you've like now closed all those things off and it's just like no, I'm not with it. Like I'm cutting all that off.
Mm-hmm.
Like you've closed all those doors and your ex is the one that's kind of like hasn't completely gotten over the relationship and still sees like maybe there's some hope and she's like trying to be around just to like just for maybe she can shoot her shot and get you back, like type of thing. That's where I think it's like, all right, well, set boundaries, not working. It's still not the best idea for me to be around her. Like it's just too much. So I think, like I said, that's the more of the learn how to communicate. As you get older, you get better with it.
Right, right. And I will say this though, Dre, through life experiences, what I've noticed is that people that have a very staunch stance on when it comes to not being friends with their ex or not allowing their partner to be friends with their ex, that they normally tend to have that thought process because they had a very negative experience with their own ex. And so now because of that experience, they're not, I don't want to say projecting, but they're using their experience as the new standard, right? So they don't want to go back to that. And so
Yeah.
I know what they went through, and so they're telling their partner, no, you can't go back. You can't speak to your ex because I know how toxic my ex was, and that's not always the case. It's not always the case that both people came from previous toxic relationships. It can be that one person came from quote unquote stable relationship, but things just ended, and then the other person came from a just maybe toxic relationship. They can, it's not always that's the case sometimes, but that's just me. Uh, okay, Dre. Next response: they're called an ex for a reason. Move on and level up.
All right. So I'm not gonna lie to you. There is some truth to that, but also there with that, it can be a lot of hurt in like relationships. Like a lot of people have, like before we talked about, people have baggage they don't deal with. They don't approach it. They don't like, they just lock it up and just don't even touch it again. Instead of like dealing with it and just like trying to get over it.
I agree.
Like that's where people are, I think most of it, that's where people are like, oh no, I can never be friends with an ex. And I'll be like, well, why don't you, like, do you have some hurt behind that? Or like, do you still want them back? Or is it like what could that be possibly?
So okay, so let's answer this though, Dre. So for you, what constitutes them being a friend?
Like a friend is you, if they ever like contacted you um by like a text or anything, you guys have a simple conversation. Um what is it? Not being called friend. I'm trying to think. But yeah, it's not, you're not necessarily like going to hang out with them one on one type of thing. Like it's more so just like, hey, how you doing? Like just checking up on people. And then like if you're in a group and you guys see each other and you're all in a group together, that's okay. I understand that. Like
Mhm.
like there's boundaries to it.
Right. Okay. So but some people would ask, why do they need to check up on you if you guys aren't together anymore?
Because sometimes people have, like you said, like we said before, people have a bond, and it's not necessarily like you might have something where you two like, I don't like say like that person coaches or something like that, or plays basketball, and you're just checking up like, hey, how's your season going, like stuff like that, just little things.
That's very I get the analogy, but I think that's very different
Yeah,
because
yeah,
you were intimate with one person, not
yeah. But no, I mean like, but I'm saying like check, like that's how I would check up on someone, like, okay, like, hey, how's your job treating you, like, or how's the new city you moved in, like just like that, just seeing how they're doing. That's what I would do. It's not necessarily for me to like get back with that person. I'm just checking on them to see how they're feeling or
okay.
how they've been doing.
Okay. All right. Next response. Uh, they say why? Why would you do that? Because friends will lead to doing things without attachment or commitment.
What?
So
Oh my.
they're basically saying that if they're friends, that can lead to something else.
Yeah, but I feel like that's still a lot of. I don't know. A lot. I guess. You got this one on this one. I don't know that.
Well, on this one, Dre, I get what this person is saying.
Yeah.
That if they're friends, then they can be more than friends. It leaves the door open. But I will say this though, if that is a thought or causing concern for you, for your partner, you probably shouldn't be with that partner to begin with. You know what I mean? Um, a lot of these responses talk about trust and communication. This is stuff that needs to be addressed. You know, through dialogue with each other. Uh, but this is a mindset that I feel comes from someone that maybe did not communicate with their partner, in regards to their ex. But he does have an interesting point though.
Yeah.
All right, so next one, next response we have. Can you? Yes. Should you? No. Deep feelings left untied while you continue with another person is not good.
Mm. I think this goes back into the point of, did you deal with your trauma with that, or did you deal with your feelings from that relationship? If it's that, then it's like you probably didn't. You might not have.
Yeah. Okay. Next response. In most cases, likely not. The shame and guilt or distasteful experience is too much.
Oh my
Now
god.
this is interesting. So this person is saying that for their sake, no, because it will be too damaging for him emotionally, mentally, to still be friends with their ex. And this also comes down to the nuance and dynamics of each person in each relationship. So let's use you for example, Trey. So if you yourself know that whatever happened with your ex is extremely toxic and not a good situation whatsoever for you, you want to do whatever it takes to separate from that, right? And so that way you're able to focus on the new relationship you have with your partner. So it's okay to be aware and understand that for me personally, or for you personally, you can't do anything. Speak to your ex, see your ex, whatever. You can't do anything because that's going to be detrimental to your mental health with your new partner in your new relationship. So comes down to being self-aware of who you are as an individual. But okay, next response. It depends how open and honest you are with your partner about your friendship with your ex.
That's one of those ones that kind of speaks for itself. Yeah, boundaries and communication. And obviously, if that person trusts you and you're openly communicating with them, you should be good.
Yeah. Uh, Next response. Yes. Honesty, trust, and communication with your partner. That's another
All right. Yeah.
very valid. uh, if you're just friends, you're just friends. a very simplistic thought
We
process, but I do understand it. I mean, that
yeah
comes down to the trust though. If your partner tells you they're just friends, they're just friends. You gotta take it. You can only take it for their word, right?
yeah
But but also the Dre. That's all also comes down to knowing who you are or knowing what kind of partner that you're with. You know, because a lot of times people ignore the warning signs and red flags in the beginning stages of a relationship because they're so infatuated with the person. So and they ignore those signs, and so that person has probably shown signs of them showing having the ability to cheat or possibly cheat on you, but you have ignored those signs because you're so infatuated with them. But you can only take what someone says at face value. If they're friends, they're friends. You have to trust your partner. And if you don't trust your partner, it's probably not the person you should be with to begin with. But I really like this response, Dre, right here. It says, as long as boundaries are clear and remain uncrossed as possible, there also needs to be honesty and transparency. But at the end of the day, if your partner is going to violate your trust, then they will do it. You can't control other people's actions.
what's the saying? Nail on the coffin. Boom. That that's what it literally it comes down to that. Like, if you can't trust that person that you're with, and you know that, like, you don't necessarily know the type of person they are, or you know the type of person they are, and they're like that, where like they're gonna violate your trust regardless, then I don't what there's no point of being with them is for real, honestly.
I agree. I agree. I will say this though, Dre. So I think that we've read. Um, Hold on. Before I give my response, I do want to read this response. That's pretty interesting. A bird can't fly forward while looking back. That's very well said.
Okay.
Um,
But wait, hold on, wait. But there's something to that. Don't
Go
you
ahead.
look back like, don't you look back at your experiences to like to to learn from them? So like, I don't understand that one as much. I don't know. There's
No, go ahead. Yeah, that's an
yeah,
interesting point.
like if you always just go forward and you never like look back to figure out what you did in that situation or what that person did and how like the whole dynamic was just kind of messed up. Um, won't you'll never learn from your mistakes. I don't understand on
Okay.
that, or just from that quote. That's me, but teach his own.
So you find it necessary to be able to look back and reflect on.
Yeah. So like I think that's one of the best things you can do is look back, reflect, and then obviously like learn from it.
What some people would say, Dre, is that okay. Let's use the window shopping example, right?
Okay, there we go. Let's
So
hear it.
say we walk past H&M store,
Okay.
and the H&M store is behind you, and you're looking back at the H&M store, like, oh, that's nice, that's interesting, that's cool. Some people would say that there's no need to look back at that H&M store because all that's going to do is entice you to go into the store, even though you know you shouldn't be going into that store because it's behind you. But because you looked at it and you saw those nice jeans, or you saw that nice crop top, or you saw that nice pair of sandals, you kind of want to go back in there now because you think to yourself, "Oh, it wasn't too bad last time. I would just go, I would just go in again." But that's what some people would say.
That that is a very very I don't even know how to explain that one, but I like that. I'm gonna use that. I'm gonna use that analogy another day, one time. Watch.
Thank you, Dre. Thank you. But I, but in all seriousness, I do want to explain this whole concept of being friends with their ex. So our fans have hit the nail on the head for the most part in terms of speaking on honesty, trust, communication, boundaries, things like that. I think it's much more nuanced than a yes or no answer. For some people it is, for some people it isn't. Based on your prior experiences, I understand. I think there's a lot of nuance to the topic. I mean, there's so just for example, this topic being friends with your ex. This topic it can vary on a lot of um situations can change the scope of this answer. So like for instance, how long was your partner or how long was your partner and their ex together? That could play a factor. uh do they have a kid together? First of all, let's just get this out the way. If your partner has a kid with their ex, they will always have a bond that will be unbreakable because of that child, right? So it doesn't matter what you do or what you say, they will always have to be in some sort of communication with their ex. And that's just something you have to be okay with moving forward with your partner. There's absolutely nothing you can do about that. Absolutely nothing. But you knew what you signed up for when you got with your partner, knowing you should have already known that was the case. What do you think?
Uh, well, especially with like that type of tie with each other, yeah, you have nothing to. There's really nothing you can complain about in that one, other than like you could literally put it as if it's not about the kid, it should just be like there shouldn't be too much communication between you and that other person, but it's still like it's still an instance of like everything's going to be about the child anyway, about their child anyway, so you're going to have to get used to it.
Right,
And
right,
you have to understand like where they're coming from.
right. But that also, but then that comes back down to the boundaries, right? You can be, of course, you can speak. They can speak with each other, right, in regards to the
Yeah.
child, but there's no need for them to be maybe talking consistently every day. But there's a nuance in that, right? That's where the
Yeah.
nuance lies. But also, Dre, so I previously said that it depends how long your partner and their ex were together. Now, it also depends how long you and your partner have currently been together.
Man.
So just say, for example, that you and your partner have been together for, I don't know, 6 months, right? Now, your partner and their ex, now say they were together for 4 years. Let's say 4 years. Dre, I will say this: whenever someone has been in a relationship for 2+ years, they have formed a bond with that person that not as strong as the bond you have with the kid, but it is a bond that will be there for a very, very, very long time. To be with someone for 2+ years, you have shared yourself completely and been completely vulnerable with them. And so that bond will always be there. But just because that bond is there doesn't mean it has to be acted upon, right? So they can still have that bond, but still be boundaries and still be a level of respect and understanding, right? And so what I mean by that is that so they're going to have a bond. So like you said, the ex might just, because that bond, just hit them up sometime to check up on them to see how they're doing cordially, right? And that I understand that because they were together for so long. I understand that, but it comes down to you as a healthy individual to understand that, okay, I trust my partner enough to know that they're not gonna she wouldn't do, or that they wouldn't do anything extra or anything
Yeah.
to compromise our relationship,
Yeah.
you know. But I think a lot of this comes down to trust as well. Do you trust your partner? Because it's not really about trusting the ex. You're not in a relationship with your ex. That doesn't matter. Do you trust your partner? And like I said previously, if you don't, if you have to question the motives of your partner when they speak with their ex, that's probably not the person you should be with to begin with. Because, like I said, they have already shown red flags that you just completely ignored, and now that's being projected through their ex, and now it looks like you have insecurities, but really you're just ignoring what you already saw. So it comes down to trust, uh, at the end of the day, Dre. But I will say this though, or let me pose it as a question. I want to ask you this.
Okay.
So for you, when you got in a new relationship, um how long did it take for you to, or did you ever completely just cut off your ex?
Um, I would say that I would say I'll flip it because my ex actually was the one who kind of cut me off. It was like she legit told me like I can't speak to you. It's just not healthy for me. And right off the bat, I said I completely understand. It's a boundary that you have. She was like, I'm starting a new relationship, all that, and I was like, I understand. I respect that.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I only contacted her when it was like to say congratulations on like something new, like a job or getting a degree or anything like that. I would only say congratulations to stuff like that because I felt like it was too. It would be disrespectful for me if I contacted her while she was in her relationship, and she already set that boundary for me.
Okay.
So that's where I would say. And then for me, for exes, I would say just any girls. If like when I'm in a new relationship, uh, I don't know. I'm kind of weird about it. I'll kind of like back away from them almost immediately.
Naturally.
Yeah,
Okay.
just because it's like, all right, I'm in something new. I don't necessarily need like red flags to pop up because I'm not that type of person. I don't want to be that type of person. I don't want this relationship to become toxic.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll back away from that person, like my ex is, or just anything like that, just like gradually, and it'll become you can contact me whenever it's like you can contact me whenever it's like at a convenience or you're trying to say like congratulations or you have a question about something.
Okay.
Other than that, it's not necessarily too much that you need to say. I would think that it's not too much you need to say to me.
Hmm. Okay. That's interesting. That's interesting.
Yeah, it, but I understand contacting people to see how they're doing. I that like mental health is a big thing for me, so I understand that.
Yes. Yes. I totally understand what you're saying. Yeah. I mean, like you said, mental health is important, and if you have pure intentions when hitting someone up, then I see no problem with that.
Yeah.
You know. Um. Okay. This I do have one more response I want to read. It's pretty funny.
Oh, let's
This
hear it.
this person says I can, but my ex be plotting to try to get back to get me.
Oh wow. Oh, hey, hey, they got the sauce. I ain't gonna lie to you. I don't know what to say about that one.
Hey, when you know better, you do better. So you
Probably
probably
should.
shouldn't be
Yeah. Hey,
communicating.
congratulations to them that know their boundaries. I'm happy for you because
Hmm.
most people don't figure that out until like a long time down the road.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think at the end of the day, Dre, I think you have to do what's beneficial for you. If for you not speaking with your ex at all is gonna help, you do that. That's fine. Or if for you, uh, communicating with them every once in a while to check up on them, then that's fine. As long as your partner is okay with that. And that's where the communication comes in. And that's where the boundaries come in. But you can only do that if you have, like this second response we said, if you have a certain level of maturity. To be in any healthy and stable relationship, though, it takes a certain level of maturity that,
Okay.
quite frankly, a lot of people don't have, which is why we
No.
see so many failed relationships.
Yeah,
um,
like
yeah,
the fact that people like if you are like we said before, if you already don't trust your partner too much, and then you see like, oh, you're talking to your ex, like you probably should not be in that relationship anyway.
yes,
And you, I don't know, there's just red flags about a lot of things like that. So I understand.
yeah, yeah. I agree with that. Like
Yeah.
the moment you start questioning something, you probably shouldn't be with that person to begin
Nah.
with. Yeah,
Nah.
yeah. I agree, Drew. I agree. Very nuanced topic. We love the responses we got. Um, but circumstantial on the relationship, on the person. Very circumstantial. So there is no yes or no answer. No, you know. But like you said, Dre, the answer lies in the nuance, in the gray area.
True.
But Dre, let's go back to something we are both maybe a little more familiar with.
Uh-oh. What are we thinking? What?
Professional athletes. Something we both are. So another question we posed to the public is the question of should professional athletes have an obligation to remain loyal to the current team that they're playing for?
No.
Okay, so that's your okay. You're just gonna go ahead and just explain it off the bat how
I'm
you
a
feel
all
about
right. All right.
this.
So no. It's okay. You can explain it. Well, I'll give my answer after. How do you want to give your response first or mine?
I want you to go first.
Okay. No, you do not. You are not obligated to be loyal to any fan organization, fan base, whatever it is. That's not your like. That's not you. Like, let's say an organization wouldn't be loyal to you. So why do you have to be why do you have to be loyal to an organization?
Right. Absolutely.
And you see that especially when um, players who have been with organizations for long periods of time just all of a sudden get cut, and you're just like, wow, I never thought that would happen. Right then and there in your mind is, oh, they don't necessarily care about their players as much as we thought. Basically, hey, this is a company. We got if we need to get rid of you, we got to cut you. It is what it is.
Right. Right.
So
I want to just read some of these responses. I want to hear how you feel.
okay.
So one person said it's a business at the end of the day, and you play to win the game. So they're saying no, you have to do what's best for you. So they agree with you. Another person says no. Too many times the coach or higher ups aren't loyal to everyone on the team.
Mine exactly. No. What? No.
Right. Okay. Another person says no. They will cut you anytime they feel like it, so I can cut them anytime after the season.
Perfect response.
Yes. This is funny. Um, it's a business. Teams aren't loyal. Okay, yes, that's very yes, clearly.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, this is an interesting one. To an extent, yes, you give them your all, but if they aren't doing their part for you, then no.
Okay, yeah. That's understandable.
Yeah. Oh, this is a very good one. Life is way too short to remain in a situation you're unsatisfied and unfulfilled with.
I feel like we see this a lot, especially now that like players have more say of where they can go or where they want to go.
Mm-hmm. But I want to say something about that though, Dre. So why is it that? So first, let me just say this: as a pro athlete, you have to you have to be the CEO of your business, and your business in the professional world is your body. That's how you make money, right?
Yeah.
So you have to do what's best for your business, right? So if that team is not comparable to you being successful, you have to separate yourself from that. And so, Dre, why is it that when players take their agency into their own hands and they want to request a trade, and so they sit out, that they're looked at as being toxic in the locker room or being a head case, when really they're taking their career, their agency into their own hands and doing what they need to do to put themselves in a better situation. So why is it that if I play basketball for a living, and if I know I don't want to be a part of this organization, why would I go out there and continue to put my health on the line for a team that I don't want to play for and maybe doesn't even want me there? Why would I do that? Why would I put myself out there? But here's the thing, Dre. So when a player takes their own career into their own hands, they're seen as toxic and being a head case. But when the team chooses to make them sit because they're going to trade you, then it's seen as, oh, they're doing what's best for the team. They're controlling their assets. There's a double standard that needs to be addressed. And what it is, like, you have to be okay with betting on yourself when you do that. And so what I mean by that is that you have to be okay with being seen as the bad guy, as the villain. You have to be okay with being seen as toxic and as a head case. And you have to be okay with taking those chances of, if I'm looked at as that by the rest of the league, I might not have another job. But you have to be able to take that chance and bet on yourself to say that I'd rather take that chance as opposed to just being in this bad environment, being in this bad organization. I'd rather take that chance of being looked at as a bad guy if that means that I get to be in a better situation. You know what I mean?
I mean, yeah, like, and then we talk about this, and the first thing that automatically like pops up in my mind is the Isaiah Thomas situation,
Mm-hmm.
or the DeMar DeRozan situation, or the who was it? Right now, I think the Sean Watson's going through it, and I don't know if he'll get. I don't know if he'll get traded.
But see, when it
Or if
comes
he'll,
when things like that happen, I have no problem with players sitting out. You do what you have to do to get paid. You do what you have to do to better your career.
look,
Here's the thing, Dre. Here's the thing. Your likability directly correlates with how good you are. So if you're great, organizations are going to love you. People are going to love you. But if you're not that good, they'll do away with you. They could care less. So if that's how the organization and the owners and GMs feel, I should feel the same way. I'm gonna do what's best for me. You know what I mean? Like, cause they'll get rid of you at the drop of a dime, at a snap of a finger. So I'm not gonna trust you. I'm doing what's best for me. This is a business. There are no feelings involved in business. That's how people get caught up. And then talk about Isaiah Thomas. Isaiah Thomas is a great player and a great person individually, but he got too caught up in the aura, the essence of being in Boston, right? But look what Danny Ainge did. As soon as he found out he had that hip injury, sent it off to Cleveland, and now look at him. I mean, he's still hopefully has a chance to get back in the league, but still, look at what he did, being third in MVP voting the previous season and then getting traded during the offseason. They do not care about you, so you shouldn't care about them. You need to do what's best for you as an athlete. But this one response was pretty interesting though, Dre. Building a fan base might make you more money in the long term, so maybe that's a reason
to stay.
to remain loyal.
Yeah, I understand that. I get that. But if you're not happy, like, actually not, because money can bring certain type of happiness. But if you're not, like, you're not enjoying yourself playing the game that you like, you're not enjoying yourself, especially a professional athlete. If you don't enjoy what you do, it's gonna be a long and hard. If like it's gonna be a long one that you want to get through, like to get through a season, to get through an off season. Like it's just like here we go again. It's another drag. Like you don't want to deal with that. That's very like that is very unhealthy.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my god, I couldn't imagine. Like that's one of the things. Like I couldn't imagine. You get to a certain point of your career, and you're just like, dang, bro, I've never been happy playing this game, being at this place. That'd be terrible to think about.
But that's on you. You chose to stay there.
It's very true. These are very good things that we do talk about. And I mean, if you enjoy being in that city or you enjoy being in that place and you want to be there and you want to change the culture or you want to change the organization, that's different. That's where I understand, like, okay, you should stay there. But if you don't want to be there, you don't want to be in their culture, like, then don't do everything I would say use your power to get out.
Okay. I see what you're saying, Dre. And this person brings up an interesting response. But I will say this. So say for instance, the team you previously played for, say you were you're only staying there because the fan base loves you and because you're seen as a good guy. You have developed a cult of personality. Now, if you don't really enjoy being there and you're only there for that reason of building a fan base and getting more money off of that, you will never be happy. Actually, you'll be miserable. Even with all, like you said, even with all that money, all that acclaim, all the love from the fans, you're gonna be miserable because you're not being your genuine self. You're not being who you actually are. You put on this facade, this persona of, who the fans want you to be, but it's come to the point now you don't even know who you are, and you're miserable. You have all this money, but you're miserable. What benefit is that? That has absolutely nothing to do for your health, and I like money doesn't buy you happiness, but it affords you means to maybe make you a little more comfortable. I'll say that.
There we
But
go.
but you can't put a price on that peace of mind. You have to do what you, no matter what it takes, you put yourself in the right environment that's beneficial for you. Because it doesn't matter what you do, people are always gonna have something to say. Look at Kyrie Irving. Kyrie Irving took 10 games off, 7 games off, sorry, to focus on his mental health. And people were still saying that he's toxic and he's a head case. I mean, so if I'm taking time away from my mental health and they're still calling me a head case, what do you want me to do? There's nothing I can do to make these people happy. So screw it. Do what you need to do to put yourself in a better environment and make yourself happy. Because people are always gonna have something to say.
Look, my man KD got called a snake for 5 years straight. People still call him that to this day. And he's just like, man, you know what? I might as well just be me. I'm just have fun with it.
Who cares? Who cares?
Yeah.
Honestly, half these people aren't even worth the time and don't even know what they're talking about. So who cares? Just do what you need to do, man.
Facts.
Facts.
Find you a perfect relationship. That's all you gotta do. Find your organization that's your perfect relationship.
See how it correlates. See how it all comes.
Man, I'm telling you, it's crazy.
Full circle, man. Full circle. But yeah, Dre, these are the topics we had today. Just to recap, when it comes to exes, very nuanced. Main key is honesty, trust, communication, and whatever boundaries are set for you and your new partner in regards to the ex. But do what's best for you in that situation. And that correlates to the other topic we just talked about. Pro athletes doing what's best for them. We should not remain loyal. And I will sorry, Dre, not to digress or nothing, but I'm a little disappointed because there are a couple of pro athletes that responded to this and said that we should remain loyal. And I'm not going to name drop. I'm not going to say their names or anything, but I will just say I'm very disappointed in those pro athletes that said that we should remain loyal to the team. I just from experience know, like I've seen people get cut after scoring 30 points. I've seen people get cut off of that. So they do not care. They will cut you and sign someone new the next day. You know, here's what they will do. And I've seen this. I'm not going to talk about the organization, team, or league, whatever. I saw with my own eyes a player stay on the team, right? And the organization is bringing in a new guy on the plane. In the moment that new guy plane lands in the country, the other guy's cut. Just that quick. They could care less. They could care less about you. So do what makes you happy in the end, which is really what it comes down to.
Facts.
Yeah. But Dre, this has been a great show. That's all we got for right now. Did you have anything you want to add?
As far as it goes with the exes, if you can be cordial with your ex and you can start a relationship, man, like if you can do that, then do it. Don't it like I think that there's just too much, like you meet too many great people to not want great people to be around you. That's how I feel. But if you do not realize like your boundary with your exes and stuff like that, know yourself, know your boundaries, deal with your trauma, deal with the baggage that you're bringing into the new relationship. Please do that.
Absolutely. Agreed. Dre, do you have any shout outs that you want to give?
Oh man. Shout out to my boy B Remy. Go to B Remy Clothing, Brandon Rembrandt Clothing. He's got some fire stuff out there, man. I'm telling you guys, go look it up. Also, shout out to my guy, Lord, what was it? New Owls, Lord in the Stitch. Great clothing. Also, one day I will be wearing one of his one of his pieces of clothing that he made for me. Mm-hmm. It's fire, honestly. Like I love it. One of my best friends, he's out there, man. He's putting his name out. He's doing some work. Shout out to the fans. Shout out to family. Shout out to my guy. Shout out to you, Kashawn. You've been putting in that work. I see you, big dog.
This is all you, bro. Like seriously, like, I don't do anything, bro. You're the brains of the operation, man. You make everything work, bro. you make the job a lot easier. I'll say that.
And thank God for everything. And everyone, please stay safe. I know it's a lot of like weather and everything like that. And please check on your health. Make sure you guys are okay. So thank you guys.
Absolutely. Agree. 100% everything you just said. Shout out to the Tatiana Jasmine YouTube channel. Shout out to the KRSN1 radio show. Shout out to the Lost Generation show. Shout out to the Anthony Evans YouTube channel. Shout out to the Nerdy in Many Ways YouTube channel. And like you said, Dre, shout out to the fans. We're just so blessed and grateful for this opportunity we have to continue to work with you guys. And all of our whatever success we have comes from you guys and from the Most High. Like, we're just so grateful for all you do, man. And that's all we have for today, guys. We will be back again next week with some more interesting topics to talk about, and we will have your responses again for those topics. But continue to stay safe, be vigilant, make smart decisions, and until next time, guys, peace.